Yo, what up, fam? It's your boy, Big Walt, back with another episode of Block Boys University. Topic du jour, NFT deployment. Now, if you've never deployed NFTs before, you might be thinking to yourself, how difficult can it be? Well, not that it's super difficult, but it can be a pain in the ass. So today, I'm going to walk you through a process that will make it as painless as possible. So rock with me. So what's the problem? Why am I even doing this video? If you've ever deployed NFT assets before, then you already know. Uploading 10,000 NFTs can be hella time consuming. And if we do some math, we see that individual high fidelity NFTs can be half a megabyte, and that's on the low side. The entire collection would then be about 5 gigabytes or even more. And if we're talking multimedia NFTs with audio or video files, man, forget about it. When you factor in that writing to IPFS is much slower than writing to generic cloud storage, you realize that uploading your NFT collection can take hours. What's worse, if your internet connection is slow or hell, just not fast, it's going to take even longer. So how do we make this less painful? Well, we can leverage the power of the cloud. We'll use powerful cloud resources, including fast pipes, to make things go a lot smoother and faster. What we don't want to do is tie up our machine while deploying all this data. So we'll use a combination of GCP and Pinata to get our NFT data onto IPFS. Yo, that was mad alphabet soup, yo. But don't worry, we'll make it make sense. So now that I just hit you with that alphabet soup, let me explain a few things. I know that my audience is split. To some, these acronyms are a foreign language. Others, you guys have a full grasp of what I'm saying. For that reason, I'm just going to give a brief intro to the tools, and I'll put links in the description. You guys can dig deeper on your own. To set the table, we all need to understand that NFTs are records in smart contracts that keep track of the ownership of digital or analog assets. In the case of digital assets, the digital asset data has to be stored somewhere. If that data is stored in a centralized Web 2 platform, the potential exists to be cut off from that data. This means that at some point, the owner of the NFT can own the NFT per the smart contract, but the file reference where the NFT points to show the digital asset is broken or doesn't exist anymore. And basically the NFT owner owns nothing because they've been cut off through some centralized service from their assets. So this is bad. To prevent this from happening, we need decentralized storage, and this is the role of IPFS. And IPFS is known as the Inter-Planetary File System. People around the world run IPFS nodes, and it's resilient. If one node goes down, the network remains operable, and any of us can choose to run IPFS nodes, and we'll be rewarded with Filecoin for our efforts. I'm looking at the IPFS website right here just to give you some of their verbiage. They say that it is a peer-to-peer hypermedia protocol designed to preserve and grow humanity's knowledge by making the web upgradable, resilient, and more open. You can feel free to peruse this and look at all the details for yourself. Filecoin, as it were, claims that it is a decentralized storage network designed to store humanity's most important information. It works hand in glove with IPFS, the protocol. Right here it says that Filecoin is an open source cloud storage marketplace protocol and incentive layer. So this is the I was about to say spaghetti, but it's not a right analogy. It is the what is that? Jambalaya is the jambalaya that makes up this cloud storage platform with its incentive protocol to incentivize people to store other people's data. Anyway, you also heard me reference something called Pinata, and Pinata is the interface to IPFS, if you will. It's a developer platform that makes it easy for developers to manage their resources on IPFS. They provide IPFS gateways and a nice user experience for deploying and storing your data. Like I said, links to all these websites will be in the description, and you can dig deeper on your own. All right, lastly, from a tool perspective, the last thing I mentioned was GCP, which is the Google Cloud Platform. To put it in context, there's basically a big three of cloud platform providers. Amazon has AWS, Microsoft has Azure, and Google has GCP. These platforms basically all provide the same thing: virtual machines, relational databases, object storage, container orchestration services, etc. They're one-stop shops for everything you could need, infrastructure in the cloud. And so for the purpose of this video and this exercise, we're going to be using Google's. All right, as we proceed in this video, I'm making 3 assumptions. I'm assuming that you already have GCP and Pinata accounts. If you don't, there are other videos and resources that can help you take care of that. I'm assuming that you already have your NFT collection data files at the ready. Lastly, I assume that you have a working understanding of SSH and that you know how to work with Bash in a terminal. All right, so the first thing that we need to do is to create a virtual machine. So we're going to go to the GCP console, and in the compute engine application, we're going to go to VM instances and we're going to create a new one. So I'm going to create a new instance, and we're going to pretty much stick with the defaults. Let's just see, I'm going to name this Block Boys Demo. We're going to select US East 1 as our region. And I think I'm not going to stick with the defaults. I'm going to upgrade to 8 gigs of RAM. And the only other thing that we're going to do here is we are going to modify the security settings. I'm going to use SSH to connect. And so I need to configure the SSH key. And we do that by going here where it says add manually generated SSH keys. I'm not going to go through how to do that. I will refer you to, there's a good article on GitHub about how to generate new SSH keys. You can refer to that. I'll provide the link in the description. But going back, we are going to add manually the SSH key that I created for this demo. And let's go and do that now. Let's see. Just double check real quick. All right, so go ahead and copy the contents of the public key. Notice that the identity of this SSH key is bigwalt@blockboys.io, but we will copy this, that copy, and then we will include that here. So that will make it so that that key can be used to connect to the virtual machine. So now that all that's done, now it's just wait for the Block Boys demo instance to be created, and then once it's created, we wait for it to be spun up. All right, so it didn't take too long. You see that it is now spun up. All right, now that we have created our virtual machine, let's just connect to it real quick to confirm that everything's legit. You'll notice here that there's an external IP address. That's what we're going to use to connect to it. I'm going to copy that, and then we're going to go to a terminal window, and I'm just going to issue an SSH command big Walt at this IP address, and that should be all we need to connect. Yes, and there it is. See that there's nothing going on here. The directory is empty, so we're connected, and that is all good. The next thing that we're going to do is we are going to upload images. We're going to stage the images to this virtual machine. That was kind of the whole point. So I already have images that we're going to use for this demo. I put them in this demo folder, in this images folder underneath that. And if I list the files, you'll see that there's a list of files. But furthermore, let's just count it out. You see that there are 10,000 files here. So that's what we're working with. What I'm going to do back over here on the virtual machine is I'm going to create a directory called staged images, right? And that is the directory that we're going to transfer these images to from over here. So we're going to use the Google Cloud CLI, command line interface, to copy these files up to the virtual machine. Just gonna paste that out right there, and this should be all we need to rock and roll. And as you can see, it's doing its thing. It's going to add all 10,000 images. This is going to take a little bit, so we'll come back. We'll come back once this task is completed. All right, so the Google Cloud Secure Copy command has completed, and you can see it stop, right? So now we're going to go back to the virtual machine, and if you recall, I created this directory called staged images, and inside staged images there should be 10,000 files. So if we list the files in staged images, then you see a bunch of kind of gobbledygook, but we can basically issue that same command and basically have it tell us how many files there are, and there are 10,000 files. So that was a success, and our NFT data has now been staged. All right, fam, now that we have our data staged, it's time for us to deploy the image data to IPFS via Pinata. And one of the first things that we need to do is create some API keys on Pinata so that we can use the command line tool to deploy the files. So first off, let's go to Pinata Manager and let's basically create API keys. Going back to this, we're going to create a new API key. And so we are going to select pin file to IPFS, pin by hash, pin jobs, and I think pin list, user pin data total. I think that's all we need. I don't think we need hash metadata or any of the others. So we're going to call this Block Boys demo and create the key. Now, this key is, I'm going to go ahead and copy this, and what I want to do here is just gonna copy, paste that in here. So I've got the jot key there with the API key and the API secret for safekeeping, and I'm going to click done here. And basically what we're going to do is we're going to use this API key to authenticate to Pinata via the CLI. So one of the things that we're going to first do is install this node package called Pinata upload CLI, and that is what we're going to use to deploy everything. So we can basically, well, actually, before we even do that, we have to prepare our virtual machine by installing Node in the first place because it's not there. So if we go back to our virtual machine and issue this command, then anyway, if I issue this command, then it installs Node and NPM, and this gives us the ability to install packages. So once this is done, we'll proceed to the next bit. All right, cool. So that is done. We have our virtual machine set up with Node and NPM. Now we can go about the business of installing this Pinata CLI tool. So go ahead and run that. And this will take a few minutes. I don't recommend this, but since it's a VM, I'm just going to go ahead and run it as admin. All right, so that is installed. And now just to confirm, all right, it's installed. Pinata CLI is installed. So now what we need to do is authenticate the CLI to our IPFS account. And in order to do that, we need the API key, or specifically, we need this JOT token from the API key. So I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to run the Pinata CLI command with the A switch, which is authenticate. And then I'm going to paste the API key, and bada bing, bada bang. It should come back that we're authenticated as long as everything works out good. And there it is. We are authenticated. So now we'll go ahead and basically run this upload. So we will Pinata CLI, use the U switch, and I will use the path. We use the path to the images, and that is here. And what do I call it? Staged images. Yeah, that should be legit. Oh, there we go. It's a little bit slow. Anyway, this is now going to upload the files. It is, and by upload the files, I mean deploy them actually to IPFS via Pinata. The key point here is it's not using up resources on our local machine. It's going to take a minute, but it's using the bandwidth from the Google Cloud platform, not bandwidth from my machine to the internet. So anyway, this is going to take a little bit. I'm going to step away, and we'll come back once this is completed. All 10,000 NFT images deployed. All right, so as you can see, the upload completed, although, and this has happened to me before, it's not a big issue. It got stuck when it was pinning the files. but it did complete, and you can see that the entirety was transferred. So if we go over to Pinata and go to files, we'll see that we've got staged images folder now. This did not used to be there, and it's 5.07 gigabytes worth of data, and that jives with what you see here in terms of the total amount of data transferred. If I click on the actual folder, this can typically take some time, especially when it's just been uploaded, but it'll take some time for the gateway to be established. So we'll hold on for that for a second, but basically we just want to verify that the data uploaded. So on the one hand, you can see the results here, but just kind of want to go into that folder and look at least one of the images. So we see that that's the gateway. It's going to try to like list all 10,000 files. I don't really want to wait for that to happen, but I do know that there's a file in there called 1.png, and that's this particular NFT image. I'm using some old test crypto ops NFT data, which is why we're looking at this. I should also be able to find 10,000.png, and you can see that the 10,000th one is there as well. So basically it works. So we can consider the data has been verified, that it uploaded properly. So that's that. In a typical scenario, and again for this video, I just don't feel like waiting any further. If you click this, it'll basically take you to a folder, and it'll enumerate all the contents of that folder, which would be the 10,000 images. Just not gonna wait on that right now. So that takes care of deploying our data to IPFS. All right, fam, so that's the meat and potatoes of what I wanted to get through in this video. What we just did was deploy the NFT image data to IPFS via Pinata. One of the other things that you'd most likely want to do is actually like also deploy some metadata, which would be some JSON files or some other metadata files. And you would typically do that after you deploy the image data, because you needed to acquire the CIDs first for your images, and then you can use the CIDs inside your metadata files. So that's just part of a typical process. We're not doing all that today. I just wanted to show you guys a way that you can use cloud resources along with Pinata to upload or deploy your NFT data to IPFS. And basically you can follow the same process that we just did for the image data with any other data associated with your NFTs. So basically you should be good. All right, now that we've completed the task at hand, we need to be good citizens and also demonstrate good OPSEC by cleaning up after ourselves. We need to delete the stage data files. We need to delete the staging virtual machines. We need to delete the Pinata API keys that we created. And it's probably a good idea to go ahead and delete the SSH keys that we used to access our staging virtual machines. So, and don't worry about this. SSH keys are a dime a dozen. You can create them on the fly, as many as you want, whenever you want. So don't worry about trying to hold on to that. So first things first, let's go to Pinata and let's kill that API key. So we're already here, and I will click here, and inside this Block Boys demo API key, I will basically hit the revoke button and kill that API key is gone. It's of no more use to anyone. So Don't worry about the fact that I showed it clear text on this video. It's not like anybody can use that against me. It is now gone. So another thing that we need to do is we need to delete the data files. So let's see here. I want to basically connect back into my virtual machine, and I see that there's this staged images directory. I want to remove that. So I know there's a better command to do this, but I can't think of it off the dome. So I'm just going to take the easy way out and just remove star inside here. So the directory is empty and all those files are gone, and might as well just remove the directory. Oops. All right, so basically that's it. I can exit out of there, and then if I go back here, I can basically just destroy. I don't even have to stop it. I'll just straight up delete Block Boys demo. And so this will stop and delete it all in the same breath, if you will. And then I will go back here, and we will delete. All right, you see it says instance deleted. So that Block Boys demo instance is now gone. Going back to my terminal, I will just look at the fact that there's two Block Boys files that contain the SSH key, and I will delete those. So we will just do a remove. Right, and those guys are gone. There's another step to take to basically remove that SSH key from the config. I'm not going to do that online for various reasons, but that takes care of our cleanup. All the resources that we used to do this have now been deleted, so that takes care of that. So that's it, fam. As you can see, this approach is much more efficient and sophisticated than deploying your NFTs directly from your computer. If you have any questions, please drop a comment. If you have other suggestions on how to make this process even more efficient, please also drop a comment on that as well. And until next time, holla.